Jessica Dawson. I'm a dietitian from Milwaukee Public Schools Department of Nutrition Services, and I'm here today to cook with you. We received a grant called the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program, and with that money, we purchased produce bags for families in Milwaukee. Now, this week's produce bag is especially beautiful. You're going to be getting Yukon Gold potatoes, cilantro, a head of cauliflower, a cucumber, a serrano chili pepper, ginger and turmeric, bananas and lime. And we're going to be exploring the cuisine of India as we make curry house cauliflower, raita cucumber salad, and we're going to talk about how to make bananas with cardamom for dessert. So let's get started with our first recipe. We're going to be taking our cauliflower and we're going to be cutting it into small florets. Now what I love about this recipe is we're not going to let anything go to waste. We're also going to use the leaves. And as you can see, I'm just snapping them right off, which is a very easy task that kids can do. Now the leaves are equally nutritious as the cauliflower. They're loaded with vitamin C and fiber, and they can make a tasty addition with reducing waste. So we're gonna take this off and then we're gonna peel it. Now we have our stem exposed. So our first step is to slice this. Now cauliflower is especially nutritious and high in fiber, and it's very good for cancer prevention, diabetes prevention, and heart disease prevention. It also contains different antioxidants that are great for slowing the growth of cancer cells. Now, as you can see, I'm gonna go around this stem in the middle of the cauliflower, and I'm gonna just gently remove and tap off the florets at the top. Now, when we're cutting cauliflower, we want a beautiful appearance to our dish, and to ensure that we don't get those harsh edges from a cut right through it, we're gonna kind of wiggle our knife to get that nice floret appearance. So what I wanna do here to wiggle my knife around is, first you can just break it off with your fingers, or if you have a lot of that stalk in the middle, you're just gonna wiggle your knife in, and that way you don't have that harsh edge to make everything look really great. As far as cooking time goes, you wanna make sure it's a uniform shape. So while I finish cutting this cauliflower, I wanna talk about this week's theme, which is better body image. Now, body image is how you think you feel about your body and how you perceive it to look. Now, this can be affected by a variety of things, whether it's friends, family, or media, like magazines, movies, social media. And even though it's very difficult to control outside influences from the home, especially on social media where people like to put their best face forward, or on the movies and print materials where they're often highly edited, we can do a lot at home as parents. So as parents, what we can do is really watch our language, especially how we talk about other people's bodies. Now, I want to really encourage you to not fat shame or talk in any negative way about how someone looks, because people can't control it to some extent. In addition, they might not like the way that they look either. So we have to be really sensitive about this. Another thing to keep in mind is, parents, when you're talking about your own body, be careful. Don't say how you feel unattractive, unpretty, too fat, your jeans fit tight, because kids really pick up on this self-talk. And when they hear you talk about it often, they often talk about themselves in that same way. So instead, what you can do to encourage positive self-talk in the house is compliment your kids about their appearance and make it very sincere, or about their work ethic or what's inside, how they treat people. And when we do this, it really encourages kids to feel good about themselves. So let's get started with our recipe on the stovetop now. We are gonna turn on our heat to about a medium-high, and we will be adding about 2 tablespoons of oil. Then we are going to add our first set of spices to our mixture to make our curry. So we're going to put 1 teaspoon of mustard seed. Now, if you want a really fun field trip with your kids this week, I want to encourage you to go to an Indian grocery store in Milwaukee. They have grocery stores on the east side, south side, by Mayfair Mall, and they're so fun, and the spices are very inexpensive. These are my spices from home, and as you can see, it's huge quantities for not a lot of money. So what I'm trying to look for here is a sizzle and popping noise. And when I hear that with my mustard seed, it's bringing out that aroma, and it's gonna add a lot of taste to our dish. And once I hear that, I'm gonna add my leaves to it. So with body image, we gave you a lot of resources this week that you can go over with your kids. You can look them up, and they're actually for kids through adults. So whether you struggle with body image or your child does, especially through those crucial teenage years, we have so many different things that you can learn about how to keep it positive and really encourage them to grow up with a positive image about themselves. So check it out. So I'm seeing my oil shimmer now, and I'm starting to hear a little bit of sizzle and pop. So let's add this in. And it's about a handful. This head of cauliflower is a small one. It's about 1 pound. And with that, we have 1 serrano chili pepper that's been already diced. And we have two quarter-size slices of ginger in my little mixing cup here. Now the recipe does call for 2 peppers. And in Indian cuisine, they usually use more of a Thai chili. But this pepper packs less of a punch, which is really appropriate for those of you who are not used to eating so much spice. So let's add this in too. And we're just gonna saute this about 3 minutes. Every stovetop's a little different with how fast it cooks, until our leaves start to wilt a little bit. And with a gas range just like the one I'm using today, things tend to go pretty quickly. Now I absolutely love curries. I have family in India, and all curry really means is an aromatic spice blend in the Indian cuisine, and it can be in a sauce or not, but you have like your central spices in India. You have your cumin, your coriander, sometimes cloves, cinnamon, turmeric. All these come together into this meld of just wonderful, healthy spices in your curry. So let's turn this down for just a moment, and we're gonna do the next step in our recipe. We're gonna be adding our final ingredients. Our cauliflower. Put that in our saucepan. And this is a 12-inch skillet, just so you know how big to make it at home. And then we have 2 Yukon Gold potatoes that have been peeled and diced already. Now when you're preparing this recipe with kids, it might be a little bit slower. So if you want to store your potatoes with water over the top, it prevents that oxidation from happening. So let's dump that in as well. Give it another little stir. Looks good. So we have turmeric. We have powdered turmeric, which is more concentrated, and then we have the fresh turmeric that we gave you this week. I do know that not everyone has turmeric at home, and that's why we did fresh. In typical Indian cuisine, though, you are going to use powder. So how you're going to use your fresh is you're going to peel off the outside, and then you can keep peeling little strips and then dice it finely with your knife. And we have about 1.5 teaspoons, 2 teaspoons. It's going to add nice color and flavor. But if you want that true yellow color, you do want to use a powder in the future. So we're going to dump that in. And now it is time for some salt. We have 1 teaspoon. And we have 2 teaspoons of cumin powder. Now let's give it a stir. We just want to incorporate everything as best as possible, so we have a nice spice blend over all of our vegetables. Now as a reminder, our potatoes, they are very loaded with vitamin C and potassium, which is blood pressure friendly. And our peppers and ginger and turmeric are all anti-inflammatory, some of the healthiest spices in the world. I'm going to let this saute for just a moment while I show you how to make your raita, your cucumber salad. So raita, when you're eating curries, you often have a little yogurt on the side. And what that does is it helps cut the spice in your mouth with a cool, refreshing taste. So you can serve this cauliflower dish with a little raita. And what I did at home, because it's an easy meal, is I made an omelet too. So I have your 1 cucumber already sliced, and I diced it this week. You can also use a grater to grate it thinly. And then we're going to be adding in 2 cups of yogurt, plain yogurt that is. And this is a quart container, so I want half of it in my bowl. Next, I have a spice blend already made up with 1 teaspoon of salt. We have a 1/2 teaspoon of cumin and a little paprika. Now you can use ground cumin, or you can also use the cumin seeds. And when you use a cumin seed, you want to dry roast it on the stovetop. So when you dry roast, you just heat up a pan and you put your seeds in and you turn the heat on until you hear a little sizzle and pop, or you smell the flavor of the spice being brought out in the pan. and then you know it's ready. So our raita now, all the ingredients are in the bowl, and we're just gonna give it a nice stir. And this is a beautiful reflection salad. You're gonna notice it in so many different parts of India as a side dish. And then at the end, we're gonna garnish it with a little bit of cilantro as well. It looks really nice and creamy. So here's our cilantro, and always make sure that you wash your produce when you get it. Okay, a little bit more because I just love cilantro. Perfect. So that dish is done. You see how fast it is. Now to finish off our curry house cauliflower, the recipe calls for a half cup of water in the pan. So I'm gonna dump that amount, but what you really want is enough water to coat the bottom of your pan because you don't want your vegetables to stick or burn. And what we're trying to accomplish here is we're gonna be putting a lid on, and we're gonna steam these vegetables for about 10 to 12 minutes until they're soft. Now because this dish isn't too saucy, it's perfect with a flatbread like naan or roti, which is just whole wheat flour in water rolled into like a little tortilla that you can scoop it up with your hands. So I'm gonna cover this now, and I'm going to let it cook. Okay, our dish is done. I'm gonna take the lid off. All that water has been absorbed in here. Our potatoes, if you test one, is gonna be soft to chew. And we have some beautiful color from our turmeric, nice yellow. In Bengali, we call that halud, the color yellow. So let's put that in our serving bowl and garnish it now with a little bit of cilantro on top. This is gonna be so tasty for a nice dinner or breakfast. It really can be eaten any time of day. True comfort food anytime you have potatoes. All right, looking good. Now let's trim our cilantro with our scissors. A little extra nutrition and color. This is very beautiful. Done. Put it to the side for just a moment, and let's talk about this week's fruits. Now, I was really hoping to get you some red bananas this week, but with unusual fruits, the growers sometimes aren't able to provide. So in the meantime, we have our regular yellow standard banana, which is equally nutritious and good, with our B6, our vitamin C, a good source of fiber. These are healthy for everyday eating and common. But this week, I wanted to stick with our theme of Indian cuisine and give you a dessert recipe where you put a little cardamom on them. And this is kind of like a banana foster if you've ever had that before. So your step in making your dessert, I'm gonna describe. You're gonna be melting butter in a pan, adding brown sugar, and then once all the sugar dissolves, you're gonna squeeze your lime that you got for about 2 tablespoons and add your cardamom. Then you're gonna be slicing your bananas lengthwise and putting it in the pan and covering it. You're gonna cook for about 3 to 5 minutes till your bananas are soft, scoop them in a bowl and put a little ice cream on top. And that's a perfect addition and completion of your Indian meal. So I hope you enjoy this produce bag this week. It encourages your family to talk about better body image, and I can't wait to be with you again when we talk about the dynamic duo, nutrition and exercise. Take care and have a wonderful week.